We have the New South Wales Premier, a person who prides herself on her managerial skills and business-like leadership, but as a matter of routine, she in fact sits on hands for far too long and is prompted to act only because of some looming catastrophe or calamity. This is a terrible way to govern the state, Mr Speaker, and yet that is the habit formed by this Premier. Without a special bill in this place, there is a risk that during the looming summer the lights will go out in parts of New South Wales. Because of this Premier, the great manager, has done nothing to secure the energy needs of this state. We have before us legislation which seeks to resolve a problem entirely of the government's own making. In the 6 long years of this government, there has been no investment in publicly owned renewable energy generation whatsoever. That is to the Liberals and Nationals' shame. We have a government that apparently acknowledges the realities of climate change, but which refuses to do anything about it. I take the opportunity, Mr Speaker, to foreshadow at this stage that I will be moving amendments to this bill which have been circulated already. Labor is seeking to amend this bill because we see this issue in two parts. In the first place, we have a short-term problem and a long-term one. The short-term problem here is that without this bill, we will reach summer without enough energy generation capacity to meet the needs of this state. We will have blackouts. The long-term issue here is that the state needs to pivot away from coal-fired power generation altogether, and a responsible, diligent government would engage with that issue and make headway on preparing for a clean energy future. Not only would a diligent and competent government make preparations for a clean energy future because of the very well understood and quantifiable perils of climate change, but because we must also ensure workers and their families employed in the coal extraction and coal-fired power generation industries are assisted to transition to new jobs in the clean energy sector. So while Labor is rightfully concerned about the short-term energy security of this state, and we are absolutely aware of the need to ensure workers are given real options and real opportunities in the medium to long term to reskill, retrain and redeploy, they should absolutely not be faced with the sack in the lead up to Christmas. Labor is absolutely committed to a clean energy future, as many of my colleagues, just like the member for Summer Hill, has just outlined. That is why the amendments I will move will seek to remove the provisions in the government's bill to extend de facto approval for other mines. We should not provide a blank cheque to the mining industry for planning approvals of this kind. On a case-by-case basis, mining companies should put forward their proposals, and those proposals should be assessed in the usual way. And in the meantime, the government should be investing in renewable energy generation and reducing the state's reliance on coal-fired energy generation. We should not weaken environmental protections and water quality protections at all mines simply because there is some short-term imperative caused by Liberal government inaction and indifference at Springvale, Mount Piper. My Labor colleagues and I want to see public investment in renewable energy generation and storage. Having sold off the poles and wires network and raised billions upon billions of dollars, the New South Wales government could have invested an unprecedented amount of money in solar and wind energy generation and begun investigating pumped hydro storage or battery storage of the kind being invested by the South Australians. Instead, using the money from the sell-off of our poles and wires, the Liberals are building a tunnel from the city to the northern beaches. So we find ourselves in a situation where, as a consequence of New South Wales' over-reliance on coal-fired power, we have to further commit ourselves to coal simply to keep the lights on in the short term. It's pathetic. Labor is very unhappy at being wedged by the incompetence of the Berejiklian government and will be moving amendments in my name, as I have indicated. For the record, I want to dwell for a moment on the environmental impacts of this inaction and ineptitude. The Springvale and Clarence collieries, both operated by Centennial Coal, are at the edges of my Blue Mountains National Park. In separate incidents, the mining company has caused considerable damage to our pristine wilderness areas. At Clarence Colliery, a coal fines spill in July 2015 saw dozens of kilometres of the Wollongambie River polluted with fine coal dust fibres after the collapse of a mining wastewater dam. The collapse of the dam, located just 400 metres from the border of the World Heritage listed National Park, was described at the Land and Environment Court as a disaster waiting to happen. When I asked questions on notice of the Minister for Industry, Resources and Energy in November 2015 about what emergency response plans were in place at Clarence Colliery before the disaster, the government could not say because it did not know. It is unacceptable to me that this government sees fit to stand back and let mining operators rip without adequate oversight, and I have been pursuing these matters relentlessly, Mr Speaker, since my election in 2015. Therefore, I am very concerned about allowing Centennial Coal any leeway whatsoever. But as a consequence of the Premier's indifference and lack of leadership, and as a result of the addiction which riddles the coalition to coal mining and coal mining company donations, we have a situation in which we are forced to act in this place to prevent the lights going out and to prevent the ruining of community of workers and their families, some who are constituents in my electorate. They've been given no support or assistance or even an opportunity to transition to new jobs in the emerging clean energy production and distribution sectors. This bill is a sad indictment upon a very bad government, and the people of New South Wales should take note today and look at the crisis this government has created for itself, and they should remember the breathtaking incompetence of the government when the time comes to vote at the 2019 election.